Did you know motor vehicles were prohibited on Mackinac Island in the late 19th century, and the ban remains in place today, with exceptions only for emergency and certain construction vehicles? Mackinac Island is truly a special place. It's like stepping back in time. The entire island is a National Historic Landmark. This means the United States recognizes its amazing architectural heritage. Imagine an entire island celebrated for its buildings. This isn't just about one or two old houses, it's about a whole community of historic structures. They tell the story of America right here on this beautiful island. Most of the buildings you'll see are made of wood. At least 11 buildings are log-built, which is quite rustic and charming. The architecture on Mackinac Island spans 3 whole centuries. You can see styles from Native American designs to French rustic homes. Then there's military architecture, proper colonial buildings, and so many types of Victorian styles. After the American Civil War, Mackinac Island became a very popular summer resort. These buildings were designed to be light, airy, and festive. Long before Europeans arrived, Native American people lived on Mackinac Island. These were the Anishinaabe, also known as Ojibwe or Chippewa, before the 1600s. Their homes were called wigwams. These were clever, portable dwellings, perfect for a life on the move. They were made from birch bark, which is lightweight and waterproof. The Anishinaabe women were the builders of these wigwams. They created comfortable shelters that could be taken down and rebuilt as the seasons changed. This allowed families to follow resources, like maple sap in spring or fish in the summer. In Marquette Park, you can see a replica of a birch bark chapel. This reminds us of their dwelling style. It also tells a story of the French Jesuit missionaries. They came and tried to convert the native people to Christianity. Then came the French, bringing their own building styles. A fantastic example of this is the McGulpin House. It was built around 1780, making it incredibly old. You can find it near Fort Street and Market Street. It's a northern rustic French colonial style house. It has been partially restored, which is wonderful. Mackinac Island has a strong military history. You can see this in its impressive forts. Fort Mackinac stands proudly on the high bluffs. The British built it in 1780 during the American Revolutionary War. Its style is quite interesting. Some say it was an interpretation of Islamic military architecture by Europeans. The strong walls of Fort Mackinac certainly reflect this focus on defense and durability. It's a powerful reminder of the island's strategic importance. Fort Mackinac has seen a lot of changes. After the Revolutionary War, the United States took control in the 19th century. Later, it became part of Mackinac National Park in 1875. This was only the second national park in the entire country. Military operations stopped in 1895. Then, it became part of Michigan's very first state park. Today, it's a fantastic place to visit. There are 14 original buildings still standing. Inside, you can see exhibits about military life in the 19th century. There's another fort on the island called Fort Holmes. It's at the very highest point of Mackinac Island. The British also built this fort during the War of 1812. Beyond military structures, early religious buildings also tell a story. The Mission Church is a wonderful example. As the island developed, other important buildings appeared in the colonial style. One very significant structure is the Indian Dormitory. It was built in 1838. This building has quite a fascinating and complex history. It was designed by Henry Schoolcraft, who was an Indian agent at the time. Local craftsmen were the ones who actually built it. The style is East Coast colonial. The original purpose of the Indian Dormitory was linked to the Treaty of Washington. According to the treaty, local tribal members were supposed to stay there when they came to the island. They would come to receive payments promised by the government. However, the Native American people refused to sleep in it. Despite this initial hiccup, the Indian Dormitory found new uses over the years. Today, the former Indian Dormitory has a wonderful new life. It is now the Richard and Jane Manoogian Mackinac Art Museum. A true Victorian dream, Mackinac becomes a summer paradise. The Victorian era brought a huge wave of change to Mackinac Island. The island blossomed as a summer resort. People were drawn to its fresh air and beautiful scenery. This era saw a flurry of building activity. Many Victorian architectural styles became popular. Some of the earliest hotels from this period are still welcoming guests today. The Island House Hotel, built in 1852, is one of the oldest. Mackinac Island is timeless elegance of classical charm of Greek Revival. Among the many styles on Mackinac Island, Greek Revival holds a special place. This style was popular in America during the early to mid-19th century. It was inspired by the temples and public buildings of ancient Greece. Americans saw ancient Greece as the birthplace of democracy. So using Greek architectural elements was a way to express their own democratic ideals. It's a style that speaks of dignity, order, and timeless beauty. You can often spot Greek Revival buildings by their distinctive features. They often have a gable front, like the triangular end of a roof facing the street. Other common features of Greek Revival architecture include front wings on either side of the main entrance. Sometimes you'll see a full-height classical portico. This is a grand porch supported by columns, just like an ancient Greek temple. The columns themselves might be simple Doric, elegant Ionic, or ornate Corinthian. One lovely example of Greek Revival on the island is St. Anne's Church Rectory. Another prominent example is the Harbour View Inn. This charming inn has a fascinating history. Another historic inn that showcases Greek Revival style is Hahn's 1830 Inn. Mackinac Island has Victorian variety with intricate Gothic angular stick and coastal shingle styles. The Victorian era wasn't just about one look, it was a wonderful explosion of different styles. One of these was Gothic Revival. This style looked back to the medieval Gothic cathedrals of Europe, which were built between the 12th and mid-16th centuries. During the Victorian era, it was revived, but often on a smaller, more domestic scale. It became a popular cottage style. Think pointed arches, steep roofs, and perhaps some decorative barge boards along the eaves. On Mackinac Island, there's a very special example of Gothic Revival. It's called Small Point Cottage, and it was built in 1882 by Alanson and Anne Shelley. This cottage has a unique story. It was actually moved to its current location in the 1950s. This happened when a group called Moral Rearmament was developing the Mission Point area. Small Point Cottage is now the only surviving Gothic Revival cottage on Mackinac Island. Then there's the stick style, another fascinating Victorian invention. Stick-style buildings are often described as angular and somewhat austere. Their main characteristic is the visible stickwork on the exterior walls. Mackinac Island actually has quite a lot of stick-style homes. Moving on, we find the shingle style. Mackinac Island's majestic statements of Tudor grandeur and the unforgettable Grand Hotel. As we move into the later Victorian and early 20th century, we see even more architectural diversity. One striking style is Tudor Revival. This style harks back to English Tudor architecture of the 1500s. In the early 20th century, building a Tudor Revival home became a real sign of wealth and status. A magnificent example on Mackinac Island is the inn at Stonecliff. This wasn't always an inn. It was originally built as a grand summer estate for Michael Codahy. He was an Irish immigrant who co-founded a meatpacking business. His company revolutionized the industry by using refrigerated curing methods. The inn at Stonecliff was designed by the architect Frederick Perkins. He also designed the governor's summer residence and another grand cottage called the Pines. Stonecliff is a 2.5-story frame house. It has all the classic Tudor Revival features. You'll see decorative half-timbering, which looks like exposed wooden beams with stucco in between. It has a steeply pitched cross-gable roof. The exterior uses stucco, brick, stone, and wood. The windows are varied in shape, and there's a recurring clover motif. And now we come to perhaps the most famous building on Mackinac Island, the Grand Hotel. The Grand Hotel opened its doors in 1887. Mackinac Island's charming history, preserving its architectural soul. Mackinac Island is more than just a collection of old buildings. It's a living museum, a place where history breathes. The sheer variety of architectural styles, from simple wigwams to the majestic Grand Hotel, tells a rich and complex story. It's the story of different cultures, changing times and evolving tastes. Preserving this architectural heritage is incredibly important. These buildings are not just pretty to look at, they are tangible links to our past. They teach us about the people who came before us, how they lived, and what they valued. The commitment to preservation on Mackinac Island is remarkable. The fact that the entire island is a National Historic Landmark speaks volumes. This designation helps to ensure that development is sensitive to the island's historic character. Many buildings have been lovingly restored and maintained. By cherishing and protecting these architectural treasures, Mackinac Island ensures that its unique charm will continue to enchant visitors for many, many years to come. To learn more about architecture around the world, please like, subscribe and share this video.